Hi, this is a recorded lecture for topic B2.2, Modeling and Prototyping, Design and Practice. So let's talk about prototyping. This is from the IB. Prototypes are created to gather data and feedback from potential users and clients. Students must be able to select and use appropriate drawings, physical prototypes, and CAD models to gather relevant data and feedback, which can be used to analyze and develop the design iteratively. Prototypes are valuable tools in the design process because they allow designers to test ideas, gather user feedback, and refine solutions based on real-world input. Whether it's through drawings, physical models, or CAD simulations, selecting the right type of prototypes helps designers evaluate usability, functionality, and user satisfaction. By presenting these prototypes to potential users or clients, designers can collect data on how well their product meets the design specifications and expectations. This feedback is then used to analyze and improve the design iteratively, ensuring that the final product is more effective, user-friendly, and fit for purpose. So some key things that we want to pay attention to here is that we are able to, with prototypes, test our ideas, gather user feedback, and then refine solutions. When we get questions about prototypes and different types of prototypes, this is what we want to consider, is that we are testing our ideas, gathering user feedback, and refining that solution based on that feedback. It's really important that you know that for answering the questions about any types of prototypes. So a prototype is a physical or virtual prototype created to test samples or models, built to test concepts or processes, or to act as an object to be replicated or learned from. Prototypes can be developed at a range of fidelities. So you can see here, this is sort of a low fidelity prototype, but it's full size. And these are scale model prototypes of a bike rack. And you can see that they're used here to test ideas, which is exactly what we should be doing with our prototypes. So we're going to talk about graphical modeling, and this is the first type of prototypes that we want to talk about. And so drawings facilitate the discussion of concepts to others for feedback and information. Students must be able to construct and interpret 2D drawings and 3D models using isometric, orthographic projections, assembly, and exploded drawings. Notice that it's saying that we are discussing concepts and getting feedback. So we're allowing people to understand our ideas using modeling and get feedback so that we can then iterate our models. So some of these words that we see here, isometric, this is an isometric drawing. It's also an assembly drawing. This is an orthographic drawing, and this is an exploded drawing. So isometric drawings are graphical representations of 3D objects with two axes that are angled at 60 degrees from the vertical axis. Don't worry too much about what that all means, but essentially they're 3D drawings. They're not perspective, so they don't have a vanishing point, and our lines, our horizontal lines, do not vanish into the vanishing point. They are always parallel to each other. But the key thing is that they are in multiples of 30. So you find that isometric drawings contain 30, 60, 90, 120, 150 degree angles. And you can see that in this cube right here. This vertical line and this diagonal line are 60 degrees from each other. And the same with this one, and this whole thing is 120. And this drawing here would also be the same. If I had a horizontal line right here, the angle between this diagonal and that horizontal line would be 30 degrees, and you can imagine the same thing would happen right here. Orthographic projections are a formal modeling technique used to depict a 3D object in 2D, typically showing the top, side, front views of the object. Here's that same bike rack. You can see these are the orthographic drawings of that same bike rack. Here's the front, here's the top, here's the bottom, here's the left, and here's the right. This is just a more simple shape, but you can see the same idea here. This is the front, this is the top, this is the left right here, this is the right, and this is the bottom. An assembled or an assembly drawing is a high fidelity drawing technique typically presented in isometric view that shows a product as it would appear fully assembled. It's also called an assembly drawing. So you can see here, this is an assembled or assembly drawing of a knuckle joint, and it is fully put together. So it is fully assembled, and it's an isometric view. An exploded drawing is a formal drawing technique that depicts components of a product apart, but in a relative position to how they would be fitted together. So this is that same knuckle joint, and you can see that this side of the knuckle joint is pulled out, and the pin is also pulled out. And it has this trail line right here that shows you where it would go. And then the same thing with this pen right here. It shows you how this pen fits together. So these are both exploded drawings. Now, when we talk about physical prototypes, this is the creation of a full-sized, smaller or larger tangible version of an object that can be physically interacted with. And that is very important when we're talking about physical prototypes. They can be physically interacted with. And this is an important part of why you want to choose physical prototypes as part of your iterative design cycle. So from the IB, physical prototypes are 3D tangible representations of design or systems, can be developed at a range of fidelities for different users and environments. Students must be able to construct and interpret aesthetic and functional prototypes at different levels of fidelity, including the considerations of scale, shape, and space. And so we'll talk about all of that stuff now. So let's start first with an aesthetic prototype. So this is a physical model developed to look and feel like the final product, but it doesn't function. You can see here these telephones, and you can see that these are not functioning, but they have the look and feel of a product that would function if they actually function. A functional prototype refers to a physically working prototype. It works in the same way as the final product and stimulates real world functionality. So this is a very famous example of this. This is from OXO, which is a kitchen utensil company, and they wanted to design a better potato peeler. This was the original one that they started with, and then they created different functional models of this. And they ended up with this good grips version right here at the end. So these are the iterations of the potato peeler before it got to this step right here at the very end. When we talk about fidelity, we're talking about the level of detail, visual richness, and interactivity in a design or prototype. So we have low fidelity, medium fidelity, and high fidelity. When we're talking about low fidelity, it is a simplified physical or virtual prototype, typically created to test a few aspects of a design idea and provide feedback for further development in the early stages of the design process. And we really should be looking at low fidelity right after we've done our graphical models. So after we've gotten feedback from our graphical models, from our target market, what we want to do is then create low fidelity prototypes. And these are quick and inexpensive prototypes used for early exploration and concept validation. They often use simple materials like cardboard, foam, or paper, and the focus is to explore basic form, size, and spatial relationships. And of course, an example would be a cardboard mock-up of a product housing, and that's exactly what you're seeing here. These are actually meant to be a stud finder for a wall, so they're trying to find wooden studs within a wall, and this would just be the product's housing. There's no other functionality to them, and this is a low fidelity physical model. For medium fidelity physical models, these prototypes offer a more refined representation of the design with improved aesthetics and functionality. Medium fidelity prototypes may incorporate some functional components or use some durable materials. The focus would be testing basic functionality, ergonomics, and user interaction. A 3D printed model of a product with some moving parts might be an example of that. And that's what you're seeing here. They went from a cardboard, and I would say this is a pretty good fidelity model. So I would say this is even a medium fidelity model to a higher level medium. This might even be a high fidelity model, but there's some functionality in this. With high fidelity prototypes, you are getting a physical or virtual model of a design concept that is highly functional and interactive. A high fidelity prototype is as functional and aesthetically similar to the final product as possible, and typically is full scale. So high fidelity prototypes, these prototypes closely resemble the final product with realistic aesthetics and full functionality. They are often used for final testing and validation before mass production. The focus here would be on evaluating the overall user experience, performance, and manufacturability. And an example might be a fully functional prototype of an electronic device with a finished enclosure. So for instance, this watch right here would be an example of a high fidelity prototype that you might develop. It's full size, it's functional, it's also expensive. So as we talk about the different fidelities, low fidelity are going to, of course, be lower cost, medium fidelity are going to be higher cost, and then the high fidelity prototypes are going to be the most expensive. And so quite often you are also going to find that there are many more low fidelity prototypes that you'll make, and then fewer medium fidelity, and then really just one or two high fidelity prototypes are going to be made. Let's talk about scale prototypes. So this is a physical model that is bigger or smaller than the real product, but are exactly in proportion with the product. So designers must understand how to create prototypes at different scales depending on the purpose and context. Scale models can be used to represent larger objects or spaces in manageable size, and they must understand how scaling affects the perception of form and space. So this is an example of that bike rack that I showed earlier, and this is a 1:3 scale. So in other words, you can see that, and the bike is also at 1/3 scale. So we can test some of our ideas with this. It fits in a space, it's manageable. So this is when we're prototyping, want to think about using scale prototypes. And this would be sort of in either the low fidelity modeling stage or the medium fidelity modeling stage. Again, we're testing ideas, we're trying to communicate our ideas, we're trying to get that feedback so that we can iterate our ideas into something that's better. We want to consider shape. Designers should be able to accurately represent the shape of their designs in their prototypes. This involves understanding how to create complex shapes using various materials and techniques. They need to understand how the shape affects the functionality of the product. So if you look here, we're looking at some scale models of chairs. We should be able to figure out how to create these. These are quite complex shapes. They're made out of various materials, and we're using different techniques. So I'm assuming that some of these are 3D printed. Some of them might be wireframes. Some of them might have laser cut components. And you need to understand how the shape affects functionality of that product, just like it says here. We also have to consider space. So designers must consider how their designs interact with the surrounding space. This involves understanding concepts like ergonomics, spatial relationships, and user flow. You must also consider the space that internal components take up and how that affects the external shape. So this is an example of looking at chairs and tables within an environment, within their space, and seeing how they interact with that particular space. Thanks for watching.